I am the Carboneg continent business representative. What we do is that we work in a sustainable space where we work with a lot of farmers who are in these rural communities, or those that are doing commercial agriculture, who have made it their mandate and who have decided in their mind to agree to transition from conventional practices to regenerative agriculture. So Carboneg is an institution that is based in the Czech Republic in Europe as the head offices, and we are here in Africa where we are just trying to reach out to as many farmers as possible to assist in this goal of transitioning from that to regenerative agriculture. So regenerative agriculture is what we've been promoting today with the farming communities that we received. We had a very good turnout of a very big number, I think close to 80 to 100 farmers that have come. They were asking questions about how our program assists them in their communities and some of the concerns that they raised as well, which were very progressive in terms of understanding how our program can be launched in Lesotho. So this farming communities, the next step is that we are going to be training them in these practices, helping them to understand how they can transition and how they can, into the most important part of our program is soil health. So how they can help their soil so that their farms can be as productive as possible with a low input in terms of fertigation, fertilizers, and all of these other things that are huge costs to the farming communities. So we are here in Lesotho. Myself, I am the continent business representative. I'm working with my team to assist the program growing throughout the whole continent. Today we're in Lesotho, but we are also working in so many other countries like South Africa, Zimbabwe, Burundi, Botswana, and many other countries that have also expressed interest, like your South Sudan and Uganda, that will be visiting soon to ensure that we have the same interaction like what we've had here. So we've come here to make contact with the farming communities to encourage them to start considering this new way of doing things, which is a huge shift in terms of mindset, but at the end of the day, it's for the greater good, which is climate change.
Thank you so much. You said you help them transition from what to what?
From conventional farming practices, which are farming practices that are related with a very high carbon footprint in their production system. So we are saying from these practices where they are heavily mechanized, where they're using a lot of diesel, where they're using a lot of synthetic fertilizers, and they are plowing and tilling too much, we help them to transition to regenerative agriculture, which is a new practice. It's not a new practice to say, but it is a more sustainable practice that helps to maintain soil health, to increase biodiversity underground, to help the farming community achieve more results with a lesser cost, because of all of these things that we cut from the diesel, the mechanization, and all of these things that are associated with the high input costs that are related to farming, as we know farming at the moment.
Are you only cutting fuel that contributes to worse climate change conditions, or what are you also cutting?
We are cutting also, I would say yes, of course, in terms of the long term, yes, we reduce significantly on the amount of fuel that is being used, which is related to much of the emissions that you see when you're relating to climate change. But also what we are encouraging is a way of having a high sequestration rate where farmers use their farms as a way of forming or creating a carbon sink, which is something that we really look at cutting on the amount of carbon that's in the atmosphere through carbon sequestration. So that's the main gist of our program, to encourage sequestration at very high rates on the biggest possible piece of land, so that at the end of the day we reduce the amount of atmospheric carbon and store it in the soil where it is better for the crops and everything that the farmer is producing.
So you're from the UK?
No, myself, I'm from Africa, but our program is from the Czech Republic.
Okay.
In Prague, that's where our founder and CEO of the program is based. However, we are operating in Europe, we're operating in Africa, we're operating in Asia and in South America. So we are all over the spaces, and all we are doing right now is we are now scaling the program so that we have as many farming communities as possible helping in the fight against climate change.
But what is the interest in Lesotho? Why is your interest in fighting climate change before food security, or food security before climate change?
Well, our interest is in both, because at the end of the day, with regenerative agriculture and some of the new innovations and programs that we've introduced, like where we're training the farmers, they start by aiding food security. There has to be security first before there's anything. But however, whilst fighting food security, there's also sequestration that is going on. So we are doing both simultaneously. It's all everything, all guns are open at the same time, you understand? So that's ideally the program that we are bringing to Lesotho. And our interest in Lesotho is because it's an agro-based economy to a greater extent. So since it's an agro-based economy, we would also understand that there would be a high impact if the farming community or the agriculture community in Lesotho also helps to play its part as according to its NDC document by government as well, to meet that particular requirement of them contributing to the low carbon footprint in agriculture in Africa.
You're talking of impact. How are you going to tell the success of your project in Lesotho, and what time frame did you put for yourself?
Well, our program is up to 5 years. So in 5 years, there's a lot of good stories to share, from how the soil has improved to even how the livelihoods have improved. So it's not just a story of the soil, it's a story of the lives of the farmers. And this is something that is easy to measure, because some of the communities that we are starting with are easy communities to see what they look like right now. And in 5 years, after practicing these principles, their landscape, their stories on their own, their rich library, that we can really say that we are looking forward to learning on what will be coming out of that.
What do you get in return to giving these young farmers and young agripreneurs these trainings?
Well, I would say that what we get ourselves is the fulfillment and the satisfaction of knowing that we did it alone as Africa. So we might get that support that we're getting from different institutions, but for the fact that we are leading it in Africa, that is the biggest reward that we can look at.
And so far, how has the project been going, and what specifically trainings were you giving to them?
So when we're looking at the training that we give to them, it's a high knowledge program. If we look at our Carboneg program, it's a program where we train a lot in terms of the knowledge of these principles that farmers can apply to get a good soil that can sustain food security, that can go on even to increasing the basic household income, alleviating them from the poverty levels that might be having a statistic at the moment, you understand. But at the end of the day, with the Carboneg program, that's ideally all that we just aim to do, to see farmers transitioning and coming to a space where their soils are regenerated and as much carbon is stored in the soil as possible.
Have you made sure that this message has reached almost every farmer in this country? What steps have you taken?
So we haven't made sure that it has reached every farmer in the country, but we are going to just continuously interact with all the farmers that we have access to, so that in a realistic way, word of mouth and referrals will end up reaching to every corner of Lesotho. However, we also have got our interactions with our local implementing partners, who will be able to also put all of this on radio, on TV, so that at the end of the day, there is an opportunity for as many farmers to get that opportunity as possible.